All right. Let's see. Where are we today? I'll read two of these. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. This is by William Butler Yeats. This quote: a line of poetry will take us hours, maybe. Yet, if it does not seem a moment's thought, our stitching and unstitching has been naught. In the book of the Courtier published in 1528, Balthasar Castiglione describes the highly elaborate and codified manners of the perfect court citizen, and yet Castiglione explains the courtier must execute these gestures with what he calls, oh, what is that word? Sprezzatura, the capacity to make the difficult seem easy. He urges the courtiers to practice in all things a certain nonchalance which conceals all artistry and makes whatever one says or does seem uncontrived and effortless. We all admire the achievements of some unusual We all admire the achievement of some unusual feat, but if it is accomplished naturally and gracefully, our admiration intensifies tenfold. Quote, whereas to labor at what one brings and does, and to make bones over it shows an extreme lack of grace and causes everything, whatever it's worth, to be discounted. Unquote. End quote. Much of the idea of Sacchatura, that's how you say it, came from the world of art. All the great Renaissance artists carefully kept their works under wraps. Only the finished masterpiece would be shown to the public. Michelangelo forbade even popes to view his work in process. A Renaissance artist was always careful to keep his studios shut to patrons and the public alike, not out of fear of imitation, but because to see the making of the works would mar the magic of their effect and their studied atmosphere of ease and natural beauty. Daily law, your action must seem natural and executed with ease. When you act as if you could do much more. Avoid the temptation of revealing how hard you work. It only raises questions. I like that one. And then there's this one. Despise the free lunch. I've said this myself. The powerful never forget what is offered for free is inevitably a trick. Friends who offer favors without asking for payment will later want something far dearer than the money you would have paid them. The bargain has hidden problems, both material and psychological. What has worth is worth paying for. By paying your own way, you stay clear of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. It is also often wise to pay the full price. There is no cutting corners with excellence. Daily law, learn to pay and to pay well. Indeed. Both of those are from the 48 Laws of Power. The first one was law number 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless. And then this last one was law number 40, despise free lunch. Nothing is free. Something is being paid for somewhere. That is for sure. Where are my glasses? Yep. Or you could look at it this way. If someone's like offering to pay for something or give it to you for free, you're the one that's being bought off. That's another way to look at it. Being bought off. No, thank you. All right, let's take a stroll to work. Make everything look effortless. To do that with life in general, I think. Make everything seem... Actually, that's just the way life is in general. Life is effortless. It's resistance that we bring to the table that makes it look otherwise. Otherwise, if you have like that go with the flow attitude, the life ends up being effortless. All these people that like things just seem to fall in their lap, and oh man, how they land that job, or how they get that car, or how they find that mate. That's because they're not trying. Try too hard, really pushing away what it is that you're trying to bring into your world. That's like law of attraction kind of stuff. Oh, that's tasty. Whatever that is. I don't know what that flavor is. Like certain instances, it's easy for me to make things look effortless, especially like yesterday with the dogs. Because normally, I'm like the big dog guy. I'm the big dog. But every once in a while, I'm like, you know what? Let these guys deal with it. Small dogs are easy. They get to sit in there and just sit on their phone, not do anything. You know what? I'm going to be in the small dogs today. You guys get to deal with the big dogs. And sure enough, they couldn't handle the pack. So the second half of the day, I went in with the big dogs for somebody's break. And the whole day I've been hearing everybody yell at certain dogs and grab certain... I watch how they handle them. They're rough. They weren't very... They didn't have to do the things that they were doing. It's their presence that's lacking. And I knew that. And I'm kind of watching through the little lattice that divides the two sides. So I see which dogs they're correcting verbally. And I'm watching the dogs as they play to see what they're doing. And in my head, I'm like, they're just playing. They're not fighting. They're literally just playing. And they're trying to stop them because I don't know why. I don't know why they don't want... I think because they're scared it's going to turn into a fight. And they're not too... I don't know, maybe they just don't want to have to break up a fight. Which I don't mind. I mean, I'm not trying to let a fight happen, but the way I was seeing the dogs play, I'm like, that's fine. So they start separating dogs and like putting dogs in like... There's like this little one area you could just kind of like isolate a dog. There's an outside area that they'll block off and just put a dog out there. And like, whatever. So later in the day when I gave somebody their break, I went in there, I opened everything up. I let all the dogs in, I let all of them play. And it was fine. And the one main dog, his name's Tate. He's got a little friend named Juno he comes with. He's just a big baby and he wants to play. But I think they're scared of him. Because it looks rough, I guess, if you don't know what you're looking at. I guess maybe they don't. So I just let it go. I just let him play. And he knows his limit when it comes to like how rough it looks. It just looks rough. But it's not. I didn't have to yell at him once. And he listens real good. Put him in a sit. He sits and I put him in a down. Told him to stay. And then I walk away. He stays right there. Doesn't do anything. I can see them watching me through the gate. Through the same lattice I was looking at them through. I can see them out of my peripheral vision, like just watching. And I didn't have to do any of the yelling or anything. So for me, it is literally effortless. It doesn't have to look effortless. It just is. But for them, it's like a big old production. Good grief. You need to control yourself. I don't think this person knows where he's going. He almost made a lane change right into me. Whenever I take these routes, I just literally jump in the lane I need to be in and don't move from there. That way I don't have to make evasive maneuvers. But yeah. And the same thing with this other job I'm going to. It doesn't take a whole lot of observational skills to see where like the patterns are with how these machines run. There's like moments in time where I don't need to really be doing much, so that gives me a little bit of time to do another operation that's always getting backed up. So I just knock all that out, and our number seems to always get hit. We can always attain our goal. That's a wild sound. You hear somebody else's car like they're really revving up and taking off. There's only these two cars in front of me, and there's cars way behind, but I don't see anybody taking off like all crazy for what I'm hearing. And it's not my car. I don't know what the heck. Aside from that, I had a bunch of weird dreams again. And not many of them were like, I don't even know what they were. But the last one that I woke up from, it was like a whole group of people. And they were like all around me, like they were surrounding me. And there was like a conversation being had. It was like just, normal conversation. It wasn't like anything like aggressive, or I wasn't like surrounded. It was just like I was like in the center of a group of people. And I don't remember what we were talking about. But there was like a real back and forth going on. Like an exchange of ideas, things. But for the life of me, I can't remember what the topic was that was being discussed. Oh, and then I woke up like middle of the night. Don't know why, but yeah, maybe it was from a dream that this even was in my head. But when you hear people talk about like simulation theory, you always hear them use the phrase like we're in it, like we're in a simulation. And the idea that I woke up with is that we are not in it. Like we are it. Like we are being simulated. That's what kept coming into my head. This is not something we're in, it's something we are. And I even think the word simulation is like a clunky word to use. It's overused by this point. It doesn't do justice to what the experience itself is. But that was just an idea that was on my mind. I think it's more accurate to say we are being simulated rather than we are in a simulation. Or like if you want to use the word experience, like it's not that we're having an experience, it's that we are being experienced. It's another way to put it if you want to use that word. Or like how else can I say this? Like it's like we're not, like we don't have individual lives. We are a part of life. Like life is like, or like something to that effect. Who knows? It's a thought experiment. I like turning over thoughts like that in my mind. Just for mental exercise. Not that I believe any of it to be true, but it's an alternate idea to what you commonly just accept as true. And I think that's more interesting. Because the story you're given is, you're born, you live, and you have all these different things happen in your life, and then you die, and that's it. Or, if you're religious, you go to heaven or hell or whatever. All right, that's one story. Let's put that off to the side. Because that's just the commonly accepted one. What else could be going on? I like the idea that this is God experiencing everything at once. Because that wraps up like creation and the Big Bang and all that into one. Like God decided to have an experience from every possible point of conscious perspective all at once. And that was the initial, like, what people call the Big Bang. Like when people get an idea, oh, I got an idea. That was that explosion of thought in your head. When you get an idea, that's the explosion of what people think is the Big Bang. It was an explosive thought in the mind of God. Why not? That could be a possibility. And then the universe. Even all these words that we use, like universe and God and all this, they're very clunky, like caveman words that completely, I think, destroy whatever it is that word's even trying to describe. That's why it makes sense why there's like those monks that have a vow of silence. The words ruin it. That's what makes sense to me. Like the profoundness of this whole thing that you wake up to every day, it just gets so minimized by, oh, it's life. It's just life. Oh, it's just God. 3 letters. 3 letters created all of this. God. I think, if I remember correctly, there was like a name for God in the Bible that was unspeakable. And then, like in my book, The Kabbalion, there's one part where I forget what the topic of the chapter is. But someone had asked Hermes a question. And his answer was just to close, like just to tight, like he just closed his lips tightly together. And the implication was, where God dare not explain, he dared not to speak. How could I possibly explain? And I like that idea better. It's better just to don't even try to answer if you're just guessing, and it's embarrassing. That's how I feel about most religious thought. It's like you don't know what you're talking about. And now you're just making stuff up. And I was brought up, in Christian schools with Jesus being a very important figure. I think he was trying to say what I often think, when he says stuff like, I and the Father are one. He kind of gained that perspective, like I'm just an extension of the grand creator. And then I wonder how much of what he said might have been twisted in a way that was, because we're at the mercy of the people who write down the history books, whoever compiled the Bible. You just have to believe that that's what he said because that's what was written down. But what if he didn't say it like that? Or what if, I always wondered a bunch of all of that in school when I was learning about all this. Like, well, how do you know that that was what he said and that was what he meant? Or that was what was done? Or I always wonder all that. And things get lost in translation. It was written in a different time and in a different language, and that, how many hands has that book gone through? Sir, if you want to go any faster, you should probably go around me. Thank you. It's astounding how long it takes a thought to register in somebody's mind before it actually is acted upon. You are a moron. I would never ride somebody's ass like that for that long. Clearly not going to go any faster than this. This is normally why I just drive behind trucks. Because when somebody jumps behind me, they can see there's a truck in front of me and I'm not going to move any faster than this. So you should probably just go around. But right now, there's probably about a good, probably like 3 truck lengths. You know, these truck and trailers, these long haul trucks. There's probably like 3 lengths of those in front of me, of empty space before there's another car. And I don't know if he's thinking I'm going to go faster. It's funny. People's minds. But anyways. Yeah, my mind is lost in that thought all the time, really. Alright, now I'll get over. I think, though, that the best word for all of this still is the word experience. It does cover a lot of ground. It's like even when you ask somebody, how much experience do you have at this? Or have you experienced this before? Or have you ever had this kind of experience? I think that's a good word. But that's my favorite thing when I get into conversations with people about this topic, is to tell them, you don't know what this is. You forget to question what this is. Not question, like, in a way that, like, it's not that you're doubting what you've been told, but, I mean, you don't really know what this is. Every day you wake up, it's like, oh, I gotta go to work, and I gotta go do this, and you have so many, like, little things that you gotta go do. You don't even remember that you should probably be in awe of what you're waking up to every day. You forgot how wondrous this whole experience is. I think that's what took a lot of stress away from me, is having my mind moved back to that point of speculative awe. It kind of brings the joy and the fun back into life. being like not having that that know-it-all attitude about whatever this is that you wake up to in the morning, or what is going to happen after this is over. I think about that a lot too. People like to call it death, but I think that, again, a clunky word to describe whatever that experience is going to be too. And then you have your whole stories about heaven and hell and the afterlife. And okay, that's fine. Let's put those off to the side because we already know what that story is. But all that off to the side, you don't know what that is either. You don't know what that experience is going to be like. There could be some sort of experience based on your behavior in this experience. That could be a possibility. That's just one possibility. What else could there be? The other one is you could just have an experience like this all over again. That's where like reincarnation and karma and all those ideas come from. That's another possibility. So now we have two whole possibilities. There could be a million different possibilities as to what the heck happens when this particular experience is over. Or this whole experience could be nothing more than like one long, protracted, ongoing dream. Right? And then when this one's over, when this dream ends, you might wake up in a whole nother experience, and you wake up like, oh man, I had a dream. I can't really remember it. Just like I woke up this morning. And that could have been a whole nother life you had that you just woke up from. There's another possibility. Who knows? No one knows. See, all this stuff, all these kind of ideas, this is exciting to me. I like the excitement of not knowing. It gets me excited. As soon as like there's a rock solid answer, I'm like, oh, well, that's boring. That's it? That's boring. So hopefully if I can keep this mindset through the rest of this experience, I'll have a very exciting, for me, life. Otherwise, this is boring. Because every day I go to work. And then it gets a lot better when I get home and I can spend time with my woman. And the dogs are fun on Sunday. But other than that, it's like, how boring. That's why I have to make it fun with my podcast all day and my tinfoil hat fun. Other than that, boring. All right. I am arriving to my destination. Hey, well, got my parking spot. And Alright. Alright. I am safe. Let's go have an experience.